Welcome to step number 2. Invite others to travel with you. Hi, my name is Joey Yarber, and I'm your co-host for this empowering training series. We're grateful that you took time to take your next step in learning how to transform lives and your community. In part 2, we'll introduce you to the secret sauce to getting people to work together, the different types of conversations that build community partnership and drive collective action, and the power of social capital. Ready to get started? Here's Mike.
I mentioned in the introduction to this training series that each step presented will have a key challenge, action steps, and measurable results. For step 2, your key challenge will be your success in casting a clear, concise, and compelling vision for positive changes that inspire others to act. This sounds simple, but it can be challenging, especially if you cannot answer questions that people will most likely ask. Questions like, why do this? Or how do we make this happen? Or who needs to be involved? The answers to these questions can inflate or deflate interest among community stakeholders. Your action steps include taking the time to identify stakeholders who truly care about community, its people, potential, and possibilities. Invite them to join in friendly conversations about a better way to find, align, and collectively coordinate local resources. And then begin the connection process, which sets the stage for increased communication and cooperation among all helping agencies. Measurable results will soon happen. People across the community will begin to see the value and benefits of working together for common good and greater impact. I spent many years working at community and faith-based organizations in executive leadership. It seemed that much of my time and conversations were about putting out fires caused by certain problems or challenges. These included poor communications, which is suggested to be responsible for 90% of all organizational problems. Other fires included relational frustrations, dysfunctional organizational processes, and misguided decisions. Most of the time, these fires were put out by simple acts of kindness, diplomacy, and mutually beneficial collaboration. I never enjoyed being an organizational fireman. I dreamed of the day when I could be an architect that builds capacity for innovative solutions that successfully address complex community challenges. My passion is to help communities maximize their collective caring power, ensuring that everyone has a chance to live a healthier, happier, and a more meaningful life. I am grateful to say that my dreams are now coming true. During these latter years of my life, I've decided to spend most of my time discussing possibilities rather than problems. And you know what? I feel more energized and fulfilled. Wanting to spend more time talking about possibilities does not mean that you are ignoring or minimizing problems. You are simply trying to discover innovative, resourceful, and lasting solutions to problems. Across the country, helping agencies are constantly looking for viable solutions for complex community challenges. They all seem to be well aware of the problems and challenges that impact their communities. They also realize that doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results, is insane. So their conversations are shifting from what's wrong and how do I fix it to what's possible and who cares enough to act. Going down this avenue is causing communities to face their essential challenges with courage, truth, and innovation. This is probably a good place to help you gain a better understanding as how to get people to connect, engage in meaningful conversations, and work together. We have discovered that caring power seems to be a secret sauce for creating a better together civic culture in communities, and research suggests this as well. A new way of understanding social grouping was discovered by Dr. Paul Hebert, a world-renowned expert in cultural anthropology. In his book, Anthropological Reflections on Missiological Issues, his research brings to light the difference between a bonded set and centered set catalysts or social contexts for bringing people together. The bonded set defines itself by its external behavior or complete belief system, the idea that a group exists because its members are similar to each other in belief and practice. These distinctives form a boundary which is representative by a circle. This determines who is in the group and who is outside the group. The major questions of those in the bonded set is, are you one of us? Do you believe as we do? Unfortunately, this type of connectivity can lead to isolated groups, associations, and organizational silos that each believe that their ways of doing things are unique and exclusive to their mission and practices. This leaves little or no room for communication or cooperation among diverse organizations that have commonly shared goals and vision. Centered set connectivity is representative by a heart with no constraining circle and a shared vision and focus. It consists of people and organizations that share common interests that are driven by passion and emotion. This type of connectivity brings people together on the basis as to what they truly care about. These are important concerns that impact most people's lives. Examples of this might include ending poverty and hunger in our community, the proper education of our children, or economic development that creates good paying jobs. A centered set approach is a good way to create community-focused collaboration and collective action, where people and organizations are working together for common good and greater impact. Community development consultant Mike Green suggests the most important asset in any community is people's willingness to act on what they care about. Care brings people together for common purpose. Care is a song that flows through every community, and those who want to develop stronger communities must know how to harmonize with it. When the song of care is clearly heard, people find the power to act together. Mike Green also suggests that when a group of people discover what they have, they find power. When people join together in new connections and relationships, they build power. When people become more productive together, they exercise their power to address problems and realize dreams. The way you strengthen and maximize the full potential of a community's caring power is by the process of 3 interconnected activities working together. These include discovering your community's local assets or resources, connecting these assets to work together, and creating opportunities for these assets to be productive and powerful together. When all 3 activities are working together, the synergistic results are oftentimes unprecedented. This is when collective caring power is unleashed in a way that surprises and benefits everyone in your community. Perhaps one of the most eye-opening lessons we have learned is that there is a big difference between service providing and caregiving. We must realize that caregiving is more than just service providing. Meaningful care leverages service providing, but pays closer attention to nurturing and empowering people's lives. We have discovered that most of the people who work at helping agencies are caring people who want to make a difference with their lives. However, many agencies cannot keep pace with increased demand for services and long lines of people looking for resources. These complexities force helping agencies to find ways to do more with less. This can be so frustrating for people in need and those agencies that serve them. We have discovered that most people in need are not only looking for resources that help them get back on their feet, but also they are looking for personal encouragement, hope, emotional support, and lasting solutions for their situational or generational hardships. This is where effective caregiving comes into play. John McKnight, well known for his work in asset-based community development, suggests, care, unlike service, cannot be produced. Care is the consenting commitment one has for the other, freely given. Care cannot be mandated, managed, or produced as a service can. Indeed, one of the greatest errors in most policy-making maps is the pretension that systems can produce care. Care is the domain of the associational community. Where care is valued or necessary to achieve a societal goal, the appropriate tool is the community. We understand that caregiving requires a lot more time, support, and investments into developing lasting solutions. This is something that most helping agencies simply do not have the time or resources that are necessary to provide long-term caregiving. But there is hope. Perhaps this is one of the main reasons why we are such strong advocates for comprehensive coordinated care. We have discovered that most communities across the country have the capacity to bridge the gap between efficient service providing and effective caregiving. New breakthroughs in care networking technology, increased cooperation among helping agencies, and cross-sector collaboration are paving the way for innovative solutions that synergize service providing and caregiving into a powerful force for transforming people's lives. Using innovative solutions, stakeholders can now identify all the helping agencies in their community and gain a better understanding as to what each agency has to offer for helping others. Armed with this knowledge, stakeholders can then use care networking technology to quickly connect and mobilize resources for those in need and the agencies that serve them. These resources can include programs, services, funding, and opportunities for social and economic well-being. And these resources can include education, counseling, comfort, and support that breathes new life into the hearts of individuals and families. All of this can come together if the whole community is willing to share the risks, responsibilities, and the rewards. By now, I hope you see the importance of strengthening the collective caring power of a community. So let us turn our attention to finding those who care enough to act and are willing to accept the challenge of spending time talking about the possibilities of community and not just its problems. Be aware that you will find lots of people who have no trouble talking about all the problems in your community. And many are seasoned veterans who for years have been combating poverty, hunger, health disparities, and more. By all means, respect their knowledge, expertise, and opinions, but understand they may be very cautious about new ways of thinking and acting. We often hear from stakeholders that working together initiatives have come and gone in their community. Most fell short of everyone's expectations. One of the reasons for this was because they did not have the kind of capacity building tools in place to jumpstart and sustain community partnerships. We will talk more about these tools in our next session. I encourage you to not let fear or anxiety holds you back in starting meaningful conversations with others. We have found that many communities are filled with people who share great passion for helping others, and these compassionate caregivers long to connect with others who share a similar passion and mission. And who knows? Your willingness to initiate connections may pave the way for new friendships and trusting relationships that last a lifetime. I remind you again as to what Peter Block, an expert in community development, said in this book entitled Community, the Structure of Belonging. He said, "The essential challenge is to transform the isolation and self-interest within our communities into connectiveness and caring for the whole." We begin by shifting our attention from the problems of community to the possibility of community. You shift attention by shifting the context of your conversations. Let's look at the different kinds of conversations that you will engage in with other stakeholders. These conversations will evolve over time and get broader in scope. We have identified 4 types of conversations that can serve as catalysts for innovative thinking and collective action. They are designed to make something happen. That is, not just talk the talk, but actually walk the walk. These catalytic conversations include learning conversations, synergistic conversations, transformative conversations, and community conversations. What is interesting is the fact that the catalytic nature of these conversations can be measured for success by 2 factors: the level of trusting relationships and people's willingness to cooperate, and the level or degree of civic engagement. Civic engagement is about getting involved in things that really matter to most people in your community. Broader public participation in civic engagement broadens collective community impact. Let's look at the unique characteristics of these different kinds of communications. Learning conversations are a great way to bring people together in a safe and friendly environment where everyone's thoughts and concerns are welcomed. These warm and friendly conversations can be a tremendous catalyst for building trusting relationships that drive collective action. Use these conversations to identify stakeholders who are willing to connect, learn from each other, and explore the potential of collective community impact. To be most effective, these conversations work best in smaller settings. We suggest that you start with friends and colleagues who share like passion for achieving common goals that can make an uncommon difference in people's lives and your community. Use your time wisely to discover what people truly care about and are willing to do something about. Talk about things that really matter, things that inspire hope and possibility. Encourage everyone's contributions and different opinions. Expect to be surprised. Listen carefully for patterns, common concerns, and creative insights. Harvest and empower these discoveries for collective action. Margaret Wheatley once said, "There is no power for change greater than a community discovering what it cares about." We are excited that community stakeholders are engaging in synergistic conversations that pave the way for a more caring and resourceful community. These conversations are about discovering the unique strengths of people and organizations, and then developing innovative ways that these strengths can be aligned for collective action. Most likely, these will take time to develop. But when stakeholders engage in this type of conversation, great things can happen. Synergistic conversations ensure that everyone actively participates in meaningful collaborative conversations. Everyone listens attentively to each other and seeks new levels of shared understanding. Everyone elaborates and builds upon each other's ideas, knowledge, and wisdom. Everyone works together in clarifying and expanding common goals. Everyone commits to partner together for greater outcomes. I like the way world-renowned author Stephen Convey defines synergy. Simply defined, it means that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It means that the relationship which the parts have to each other is a part in and of itself. It is not only a part, but the most catalytic, the most empowering, the most unifying, and the most exciting part. We are also noticing that stakeholders are engaging in what we call transformative conversations, which can be a catalyst for systemic change. You will know that your conversations have evolved into this when dialogue has noticeably shifted from discussing problems to discussing possibilities. New ways of thinking and acting have emerged. A whole new set of beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors are driving cultural changes. A whole new level of collaboration, knowledge exchange, and collective wisdom is happening. People are celebrating and talking about change with great passion and enthusiasm. Transformative conversations can take increased cooperation among helping agencies to a whole new level of collective community impact. Now I want to turn our attention toward an exciting and encouraging type of catalytic conversations that you and your community can engage in. It's called a community conversation. Paul Bourne of the Tamarack Institute for Community Engagement says, "A new kind of social dialogue is emerging around the world. These conversations, I call them community conversations, are being generated by two conflicting realities: the growing complexity of our society's needs and the elementary nature of the tools available to fix them. A community conversation is about neighbors, organizations, and institutions coming together and learning how to combine their unique strengths and collectively tackling tough community challenges with greater force and success. These conversations are designed to provide a safe and inclusive environment where everyone in the community is invited to take part in open dialogue. It is also designed to bring together community data, knowledge sharing, and collective wisdom from all community sectors. The goal is to develop real and lasting solutions for constantly changing and complex challenges like poverty, hunger, health disparities, and more. A community conversation, one that broadly engages representation from all parts of a community, will take time to evolve. Good representation means that all members of the private, public, and social community sectors are welcomed and given equal opportunity to participate. We have discovered that community conversations are most effective when resource providers and recipients as well are at the planning table. It may take approximately 2 to 3 years for these conversations to get off the ground and reach new heights in cross-sector engagement and practice. Keep in mind that this will always be a work in progress that future generations of stakeholders can build upon. In our work across the country, we have watched as community conversations have evolved in many communities, including Charleston, South Carolina, Stillwater, Oklahoma, Huntsville, Alabama, and many more. So far, we have offered to you lots of education about what to expect in engaging people in meaningful conversations. Now we want to suggest where you start building friendships and trusting relationships that set the stage for catalytic conversations. We are learning that relational and vibrant social capital is a driving force for a well-connected community. Social capital may be described as a web of relationships that empowers people to work together more effectively. It is characterized by trust, common interest, mutual benefits, and durability. Social capital can be strengthened through 3 avenues of connections: bonding, bridging, and linking. Bonding refers to close, enduring relationships built upon trust, commonly shared values, and commitment to each other. These may include family and friends that you spend quality time with on an everyday or weekly basis. This social network can range from 5 to 12 people. Bridging is about connections that people have with different people who have less in common but have overlapping interests and associations. These would include work-related friendships, neighbors, and affinity groups that involve church, civic, or sports activities. These could include as many as 50 people. Linking is about connections that are based upon mutual associations, a friend of a friend. These are links outside our social circles, but have the potential for some form of mutuality, such as a commonly shared vision or interest. These connections can help link us to influence and resources outside our normal circles and create pathways to collaborative solutions. Regarding these avenues of connections, Dr. Alison Gilchrist, author of The Well-Connected Community, suggests each of these is necessary for strong and sustainable communities. But community development is primarily concerned with the latter two forms of social capital. Bridging capital can be seen as important for managing diversity and maintaining community cohesion. Linking capital is needed for empowerment and partnerships working. The network approach, used to develop the well-connected community, emphasizes the role played by community workers in helping people build bridges and make links that they might otherwise find difficult. We are learning that strengthening the carrying power of communities must be intentional processes that are driven by strong social capital. Communities must strive to bridge the gaps between organizational silos in the private, public, and social community sectors. As more and more people come together based upon commonly shared caring interests, communities will experience greater connectedness and outcomes. This connectedness is created by using relational avenues for exchanging ideas, information, knowledge, influence, and resources. With good maintenance, you can make sure that these avenues are widely used and void of potholes or other obstacles. Proper attention to trust and affinity will make these avenues safe for travel and easy to navigate.
Hey, thanks, Mike. What's in it for me? Why should I use Charity Tracker in my community? These are understandable questions. We have to address those questions way before we get to the how to use Charity Tracker. Let's start with the why, as this many times is one of the most important parts of the conversation in the community. The how, we'll get to that later. Collaboration in the community is the right thing to do, and it's as simple as that. To piggyback on our last step, better together, agencies are more effective. They're more efficient when they work together. That's why. One of our greatest examples of taking on the why question is in Huntsville, Alabama. Various agencies with various goals were brought into the same room. Each agency had the opportunity to talk about what they did, what they were able to provide from a care and service perspective. Then the administrators set up different challenges with the group that they had to solve. They had to work together. They had to, in order to effectively complete the challenge. And you know what? It was awesome to watch as various people who many times had just met for the first time had to share and engage each other to effectively complete the challenges. One such challenge was solving a puzzle. Each person was given their own puzzle to solve. They had to put the pieces together. Here was the challenge. No one, not a single person in the room had all the pieces to solve their own unique puzzle. So what they had to do is reach out to others to see if they had the pieces to their puzzle. They had to seek those pieces out that was missing. In the end, each person had their own puzzle solved, and the picture was very clear. Working together can individually be successful, mutually beneficial, and collectively effective. Why? Why you should work together. In step number 3, you'll learn how to set up your first base camp, which is a resourceful and well-connected care network of helping agencies. This is your practical and tangible expression of people, organizations, and institutions working together more efficiently and effectively. Thanks so much for taking time to explore this transformative knowledge. For more information about this training series, you can give us a call at area code 256-764-0633 or email to joey@simonsolutions.com or mike@simonsolutions.com. Thanks so much for being part of this training series.